Hello. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to all the viewers from wherever you're watching this. This is your host, Venki, with today's edition of Southern Spice, the only Tamil program on FM and AM radio in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area. Radio Zindagi, 1310 AM in Parsippany, New Jersey, 96.7 FM in Edison, New Jersey, and 540 AM in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut region. Also streaming live on Facebook and YouTube on the Southern Spice USA channels. As usual, Southern Spice every episode we bring you with a very different and interesting individual that we speak with. And அந்த வரிசையில் இன்னைக்கு நம்ம பேச போகிறது யாருன்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னாக்க அவங்க பேர் யோகச்சாரிணி மைத்ரேயி. She's a practical mystic and the founder of ARKAYA Foundation. She's taught a wide variety of people. அதாவது ஸ்ரீலங்கால புத்திஸ்ட் மாங்க்ஸ்லேருந்து ஸ்வீடன்ல பிரிசனர்ஸ், அப்புறம் பங்களாதேஷ்ல ஆல் இஸ்லாமிக் குரூப்ஸ், அப்புறம் துபாயில் எமர்ஜிங் யோகா ப்ராக்டிஷனர்ஸ், ஹாங்காங்ல சீசன்ட் யோகா ப்ராக்டிஷனர்ஸ், அண்ட் தென் வேன்கூவர்ல யோகா டீச்சர்ஸ், இந்தியாவில் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா சில்ட்ரன், அப்புறம் ஈவன் கார்பரேட் சிஇஓஸ், இது மாதிரி எவ்வளவோ பேருக்கு இவங்க கற்றுக் கொடுத்துருக்காங்க. லாஸ்ட் ஒரு 25 வருஷமா இவங்க இதை ப்ராக்டிஸ் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காங்க. ஸோ அவங்க பேர்லேருந்து எல்லாமே கொஞ்சம் மிஸ்டிக் தாங்க. ஸோ நம்ம why don't we go to அவங்களுக்கு she has been given several titles: யோக சிரோமணி, யோக செம்மல் அண்ட் யோகார்ச்சினி. இது மாதிரி நிறைய டைட்டில்ஸ் கொடுத்துருக்காங்க. யோகா ஆச்சாரினி தான் இப்போ அவங்க யூஸ் பண்ற டைட்டில். ஸோ லெட்ஸ் கோ டு ஹர் அண்ட் ஆஸ்க் ஹர். அதுலேருந்தே பேச ஆரம்பிப்போம். ஸோ ஸ்டே டியூன்ட் அண்ட் ஐம் கோயிங் டு ஜஸ்ட் பிரிங் Yogacharini Maitreyi on the stage. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you for having me here, Venki.
So nice to have you on Southern Spice, and we are really truly blessed to have people like you to come on our show and talk to our audience. Thank you so much for taking the time.
My pleasure. Thank you.
So as I said in the intro, நீங்க யோகச்சாரிணி அப்படின்ற ஒரு டைட்டில் தான் யூஸ் பண்றீங்க. Why don't we start with that? I know you started this journey fairly young. I want to come to that, but I want to யோக சிரோமணி இருக்கு, யோக செம்மல் இருக்கு, யோகச்சாரிணி, அதை பத்தி சொல்லுங்க please.
So the title of Yogacharini, if you look at the meaning itself, achar is thinking, action, and vichar is thinking. So this was a title that was given by my Acharini, Meenakshi Amma. So when I was really young, I was looking for a female guru. And at that point, most of the gurus in India at least were male, had big ashrams. There was a typical prototype or stereotype to the guru model, whereas she was very simple. I was one of 4 students who studied with her. So, and she's very close to my heart, really. I would say a wonderful human being, very sincere in what she's teaching, imparting, and living the yogic life. And because she gave me the title, it's very dear to me. And she also doesn't call herself this guru, I am this avatar, nothing. I am an Acharini. Her title is also Acharini, where she says that according to the yogic thinking of union, wholesome communion, I'm living and guiding my life according to that. So that is my path as well, and so that's why I take that title. Yeah,
lovely. So Yogacharini, அப்படிதானே கரெக்ட் ப்ரொனன்சியேஷன்? ஓகே. Yogacharini Maitreyi. அந்த மைத்ரேயிக்கும் ஒரு மீனிங் இருக்கு, அதையும் கொஞ்சம் சொல்லுங்க.
Yeah, so this was a name given again by Amma Meenakshi Amma, my Acharini. And when I was younger, my grandfather wanted me to change my name. He was my first guru. So my earlier name adedo seri varala the jadagallam paapanga illaya. So it's not just according to my birth date, but also according to the life path I was supposed to be on according to my grandfather. It was not going together. But somehow when I was younger, he's my grandfather after all. So I didn't want to change my name. And then my Acharini Meenakshi Amma, she said, this name is not right for you. You need a name that is more uplifting. And so she first gave me the name Jagadishwari. Jagatin Ishwari, Jagatishwari. So you know the meaning. Jagat is world, and you have Ishwari, who is the, Lord, or the feminine aspect of Lord, who rules over the world. I said, this is too big a name for me. I don't want to lord over the world. I just want to understand myself, my own emotional patterning. Why do I behave the way I behave? Can I be a better human being? So my needs and my quest was very simple. So I suggested the name Al-Mitra. And Al-Mitra is from this book, Khalil Gibran's book, The Prophet. And this lady, Al-Mitra, she basically asks questions. She's like, okay, how do we have a healthy relationship? How do we bring up children? So he gives all these couplets and poems about that. And for me, at a young age, that was very inspiring. So Ammaji, we call her Ammaji. Amma was like, you so many, you have all this relationship with me and you want a Muslim name, because in that, was a, so she gave me Maitreyi because the vibration of Maitreyi, this quest for self-awareness, self-realization, was expressed through Maitreyi, as you know, in the Maitreyi Upanishad, and also in the story where she's married to Yajnavalkya, and where she says, I don't want your property, but whatever you're seeking and going into the mountains for, that degree of enlightenment, that's what I need or I want. And that's how, this name came about. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, why did you decide at a young age? I know you started this very, very young. You've told me this before, and it's also there in your website. So, why did you decide so young to dedicate your life to the spiritual arts and sciences?
For me, I think I was quite introverted when I was younger. Though when I'm with people, I love people. So people would never guess that I was introverted because, I'm quite chatty and I'm quite out there. But when in my alone time, I was quite observant. And in my own family, I would say everybody was very well put together from the surface, So my dad's side was a family of doctors. Both my grandparents were doctors. This side, my maternal grandfather was a lawyer. He was actually quite emotionally aware as well. But I saw the dysfunctionality, the drama, the unnecessary conflict and turmoil that was going on beneath the surface, and nobody was actually addressing it. And for me, I was like, oh, is this how life is going to turn out for me as well? Where I'm supposed to push things under the rug or pretend it's not happening. And for me, that was not okay, because I think I was a sensitive child. And that kind of made me seek something deeper and say, yeah, I want to be integrated in the world, but I also want to have internal awareness of what's going on inside, be able to communicate it and be able to harmonize it with myself and also with those around me, where, the conflict doesn't become bigger.
Gotcha. So you became a yoga and a spiritual teacher, right?
Yes.
So how did that transformation happen? What inspired you, to become a trainer?
So in the beginning, I was not thinking of it as a profession. I'm talking about 30 years ago. As you know, we're kind of in the same, generation. Nobody says, oh, I want to grow up and become a yoga teacher. That's not on the slate, But what happened was along the way. So I studied visual communication. I didn't want to do the usual engineering or medicine. So I got into visual communication. I had a creative side. And then after that, I started teaching yoga for free, because I saw again in the kind of media industry, everything was pretty chaotic in India, the way they were working out schedules. So I said, no, I need some stability, something there. So I was teaching that for free, and along the way, what happened was it became a profession. I never planned it to be like that. So first I studied at the Shivananda ashram, and after that I was teaching it for free. And once I learned with Meenakshi Amma, she said, no, you have to go out there and teach. You can't keep it to yourself. So again, like I said, when I started teaching, I didn't think it was going to be a full-time profession. But with time, somehow it took over. It had a life of its own. People were inviting me to different countries to, give talks and lectures and do teacher trainings. And that, yeah, like I said, that seemed to be my path. Yeah.
Nice. But then there was probably a spiritual philosophy that you kind of uh, gravitated towards, right? Was
Yes,
there any?
absolutely.
How did you get to that?
So, when I started traveling to the West, I
Hmm.
actually stopped using the word tantra. So I come from a tantric school, a yogic school also, but also tantra is one of the main teachings because in the West it's been so hypersexualized.
Mhm.
The word tantra, I'm saying. So here, when you say, "Oh, I'm a tantric teacher," they think, "Oh, they'll have to come as a partner and do some sexual activity." And I'm like, "No, no, no. This is classical sattvic tantra." And also in yoga, again, I mean, it's not at least that deranged, the meaning, but it's become minimized, the meaning, I would say, yoga, where it becomes an exercise class in a yoga studio.
Mm.
It's neither for me. It is something where you're looking at all aspects of being a human being. So you're looking at the somatic, which is the physical aspect. You're looking at the emotional aspect. What are your reactiveness? How do you deal with your emotions? Do you suppress them? Do you throw it on to the person closest to you because you've had a bad day? You can kick the dog, kick the door, kick not the wife, but I'm just saying, whoever can take it. So we are looking at these emotional patternings. We're also looking at our mental patterning and saying, how do we deal with our belief systems, our thought patterns? So that is also a big portion of what we look at. And of course, our connection to the divine. So in terms of a philosophy, we're not looking at a philosophy as such, but we're looking at self-awareness, which includes awareness of body, emotions, mind, energy, and our higher self. So that is, I would say, the foundation. And with Tantra, again, we're looking not at a sexualized aspect, but the energy circuits in the body.
Mhm.
Tan means body. So everything we do with the body becomes sacred, including how we eat, how we walk, how we carry ourselves. All of that, becomes mindful and integrated into our lives.
Nice.
So, yeah.
So, in this spiritual path that you chose to go into, right? You must have had some mentors or some big influencers.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about them as well?
Absolutely. So my grandfather was my first mentor.
Mm.
And I call him my mentor because not only philosophically did he make me understand the concepts, but he lived it. For
Mhm.
example, like if I was going through a lot of stress as, a young woman, he would always have my back. And for me, that is the first sign of a good human being and a guru. Your guru has your back, literally. So, for example, I when I was growing up, I had a very bad hunch, and people, in fact, they would make fun of me saying, "Oh, why are you walking like a question mark?" எல்லாமே கேள்விக்குறியா இருக்கா உனக்கு? If you're walking like that. But I think I was just shy. I was just shy and, I was becoming a woman and I was hiding there.
Okay.
So my dad used to constantly poke at me and say, "Nimundu nada," walk straight, walk straight. And my grandfather one day got damn irritated and said, "Listen, she's becoming a young woman. She's like shy." And he actually imitated how it would be if somebody jut their breasts out and started walking. And all of us burst out laughing. Would you rather your daughter walk like this? Just to show the other extreme and the other opposite. So, like I said, in every situation from the small to the biggest, he had my back as a good human being. And two, he was somebody who I know, he would constantly remind me. He said, even if you kill somebody, you can come to me, right? I was like, I'm not going to kill somebody. Everybody's all right. But he wanted me to know that there was no sin big enough, or, just for the want of another word, big enough, which would make him hate me, which means I could go to him with anything.
Mhm.
And I needed that comfort at that age to know that whatever I thought was terrible or wrong, there was this human being who had my back. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Beautiful.
So he was my first mentor.
Mm.
And one of the lines that I live by from this first mentor is he said, I want you to walk two ways in this world. One is that the world belongs to you, which means You walk in the world like you care about everything. It's, we usually turn a blind eye and say, this is not my problem, that's not my problem, somebody's suffering. So, he always made me be engaged in the world. And the second thing he said was, I want you to walk like you don't care who the world belongs to. So that means don't be intimidated by authority or position or age, Of course, have respect for people, but don't be intimidated by it. So he gave me the foundation. The second was the Shivananda ashram. Swami Mahadevananda was there. He was the one who would poke me and say, oh, you're selling soap and manipulating people's minds, because I was in advertising, doing ad production. So he made me think about my choices in terms of filmmaking and what is the message. I love the art and the craft, but he made me think about the message and say, what are you actually selling to people? Things they don't need, and you're telling them they need this product. And so he really was not impressed with the messaging of advertising. And then my third, like I shared, was Meenakshi Amma. With her, I spent the longest time, and she lived by those principles and dedicated her life to those principles. Yeah.
Great. So I'm hoping that all our viewers at this point have kind of got a good understanding about Maitreyi as a person, your personal, background and journey. But I want to now kind of take it to, something about your teachings, about your organization, just so everybody understands what you do. So, what is the core philosophy behind what you teach?
Yeah. So when it comes to, I would say, the foundation of what I teach, we call it self-awareness. Again, it's yoga and tantra. The roots come from there. But because, like I said, it's been so watered down, yoga has been watered down, tantra has been, again, our Tamil and Hindi films also, tantra, I forgot to mention that part, when they show a tantric, he'll be wearing like skulls and doing hreem, broom, and, changing a man to a mouse. It's like some black magic, I don't do black magic. None of that.
Mantra Tandram.
Mantra Tandram, exactly, right? So their mantra is a big portion, but that is for the purpose of self-transformation, because we all carry the conditioning of our ancestors, even our own parents. So if you see your dad and how you behave, if I saw my mom and how I behave, as much as I don't like some of her qualities, unconsciously, I'm modeling those qualities. So this is what we're looking at in the core foundation of, like I said, it's not philosophy, but the foundation wisdom is self-awareness. So how do we become self-aware? Again, the foundation is Karuna Sakshi Bhava, or compassionate witnessing. So we get into the practice of compassionately witnessing ourselves. We become the observer and the observed. And when we observe ourselves, we start to see, how are we sitting? Are we sitting comfortably, or am I slouching? So again, right from the somatic level to the emotional level, where my relationship to myself, relationship to others, and relationship to the divine. I'm looking at the emotional level. So day in and day out, moment to moment, it becomes a practice. So that is the foundation. It's not a philosophy, so to speak. It is more a practice of reconnecting to self on a deeper level.
Okay. So அந்த அர்க்காயா யோகா அப்படிங்கிறது வந்து you call it decolonized full spectrum yoga.
Yes.
அப்படின்னா என்ன? What is it?
So again, when I came to the West, like I said, the full spectrum of yoga was not being taught. So I'll speak to the full spectrum bit of it. We are full spectrum human beings. We, unfortunately, because of modern, medical science, it has wonderful things and wonderful, discoveries, but it does not look at us, that is the human being, as full spectrum, which means we have a physical body. In yoga, what has happened is, in yogic philosophy or psychology, they've actually listed the full spectrum that we are. So the physical body is called the Annamaya Kosha. Anu is cell, so the cellular body. That which is composed of the cells is the Annamaya Kosha. Then we have the Pranamaya Kosha. that which is composed of prana or life force, chi or biomagnetic energy. That is the pranamaya kosha. Then we have the manomaya kosha, which is our mind field. So this manomaya kosha also is one of the spectrums. Then we have the vijnanamaya kosha. Now, thankfully, I can give an example and say, oh, the internet, maybe 40 years ago, if I said, oh, you can type something, download things from servers elsewhere, we can connect like this, people would have looked at me and said, you're crazy. Whereas the yogis and the rishis, I like to call them the ancient researchers, they said this is possible. That is, we can connect to the cosmic internet. That is the Vijnanamaya Kosha. Jnanam, as you know, is wisdom. Vijnanam, great wisdom. So this great wisdom field, one can connect to and download not just information like the internet, but actual wisdom. So this is a spectrum of our existence. And then we have the Anandamaya Kosha. Anandam, as you know, is bliss. So we have access to all these spectrums, and this is full spectrum. But unfortunately, because we live in a very limited scope of who we believe we are, which is the material world, we forget about all this. Or because we are conditioned, we pray, there's conditioning or bio, we do it. But we don't fully experience these spectrums. So that is full spectrum yoga. The second word is decolonized. Now, unfortunately, after the British took over, the Muslim invasion, and the Industrial Revolution, our mindset has changed, where everything has been connected to how much we produce and how much we possess. So that is the core of the Industrial Revolution. They need to sell more goods, So the more you possess, the better your self-worth. Whereas the indigenous or the yogic paradigm is that you have intrinsic self-worth. And this intrinsic self-worth is being lost to the extraneous things. It could be how good I speak English and then I feel better. Or, how நம்ம ஊர்ல நிறையவே இருக்குது. இங்கிலீஷ் பேசினா அவன் வந்து புத்திசாலி. படமே வந்திருக்கு, வெள்ளையா இருக்கும் போய் சொல்ல மாட்டான். So there's all these associations based on false things. And the decolonization means these associations are not based on these false things. They are, based on our intrinsic worth and our values and how we behave and how we relate. Yes.
Okay. So you spoke earlier about the tantric tradition, right? But you also say that you teach Sattvic Tantra.
Yes.
Are there any difference? How different are they?
Yeah. So again, coming back to how the word has been misused, and sattva is the quality of refinement, quality of stillness. So if you look at the gunas, we have 3 gunas. So tamas and quality one, it's stagnation, it's heaviness. So let's say we have tamasic food. So we can apply this guna to anything. We can have tamasic relationships. We can have tamasic food. We can have tamasic emotions. We feel heavy and depressed, so that will be in the, category of tamas. So yoga tells us in a very step-by-step scientific manner, the more tamasic choices you make, which means on a particular day, you're eating lots of fried foods or, lots of red meat. That's also very tamasic. Or lots of alcohol. Alcohol is very tamasic. So you do all of that, you're going to dull your senses. You're not going to be able to have clarity in decision making. Now, rajas is the quality of agitation. It's the quality of being worked up about things, being passionate, but also competitive. So this nature, again, is not encouraged, or I wouldn't say encouraged. It has a point and a space in certain areas, but we don't want to cultivate too much rajas. So let's say we're drinking lots of coffee. So I'm talking about rajasic foods. We drink lots of coffee. We drink, have lots of sugar just to give us an instant high. But the drop is also pretty quick. So we have this kind of a wave pattern, in terms of energy. But if we want this kind of a wave pattern with energy, kind of stable, still, be it with our emotions, be it with our energy, then we are making more sattvic choices. Definitely. So when I say sattva, that is what I mean in terms of the practices, in terms of the principles. people are making those sattvic choices in their life.
Hmm.
In a nutshell. Of course, there's a lot more layers to it.
Yes, of course. There's definitely a lot more. But
Yeah.
in the interest of time, I just wanted to move things quickly. There's so much to cover, Maitreyi. So I just think we should probably come back and do another session where I can cover a lot more. But I just want to find out, what does your foundation's name mean, ARKAYA Foundation?
So Arkaya is one of the names of the sun. It comes from the root Arka, which means light, healing, inspiration. And it also means awesomeness. So we thought, just as a spin on things, everybody's awesome. So let's use that word. Yeah.
Okay. And the organization is registered in in India and the US,
Yes.
not US,
Not,
sorry,
not US,
Canada.
Canada. So
Canada.
I'm living in Vancouver now. So it is registered in India as well as in Canada, and arkaya.net, ARKAYA.net. So they.
So if someone wants to connect with you and learn from you or join one of your classes, what does one have to do?
They just go on to the net and they send us an email, or they in the list of online. A lot of our classes post COVID have become online, which is every Saturday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. PST. We have online community satsangs where people can come in, and then first part is like a meditative session, then a very gentle mindful session on the mat, and then we have community building where people actually connect with each other. So that happens every Saturday. I mean, unless certain holidays, and so we'll put it on the website if we're
And
having
this happens on camera?
Yeah, it happens on Zoom.
Oh, that's what I asked. Okay.
Yeah,
So people
so
just
it's
turn on
online.
okay.
Yeah, some of them don't. They don't want to participate. They just want to rest, and they have babies and all sorts of things going on. So they don't come on camera. But those who want to come on camera, and participate for the last bit as well.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
So some people who may want to understand what are the benefits that I can expect from your teaching, what would you tell them?
I would say there's benefits because it's full spectrum. There's benefits on every level of one's existence. I've had people with back pains or, who needed surgery, who come and who've said, oh, this has healed me. Different physical ailments. I don't know if there's time to go into every single thing, but on many, many, many levels, there has been a shift that happens. Just in a nutshell, when we're in the parasympathetic, which is the rest and digest phase of the nervous system, that is when healing can take place. We are mostly in the sympathetic nervous system, which is the fight, flight, freeze. In school, we've all studied it, freeze, fawn, response, where we're constantly rushing, we're constantly going from one task to the other. That is a phase where healing is not possible. So what the processes do is that it shifts you into the parasympathetic and therefore creates the right environment for healing. So again, when it comes to relationships, the self-awareness piece, the emotional resilience and emotional awareness piece. Again, when it comes to your memory or, things like that, the mental faculties, it helps you in those areas as well. And in terms of the benefits, if they come even for a drop-in, even 5 minutes, if they do a practice every day, that'll give them benefits. Some say, oh, I want to go deeper. Then there are longer courses, 1-year programs. They have the teacher training, 500-hour teacher training. Then they see more benefits. It's also what you put, you get back,
I'm going to sign up. All right, there's just so much to talk, Maitreyi. I can't have enough of this conversation, so I'm definitely going to come back and bring you back on the show in a couple of weeks, in a few weeks, because there's just way too many questions. But before before I let you go for today, if you could distill your teaching to one key message, what would that be?
So I would say we all need more Karuna Sakshi Bhava in this world. Karuna is compassion. Compassion first starting with ourselves and our self-judgments. And the beauty of the Sanskrit word karuna is it comes from the word kara, hands. So unlike compassion, which is just a feeling, karuna is actionable compassion. So if I see myself suffering, karuna necessarily means I'm doing something to alleviate my suffering. Similarly, when I see somebody else suffering, when I say I have karuna, I'm doing something to alleviate their suffering, not just feeling compassion. And Sakshi Bhava is the principle of observation. So sometimes we turn a blind eye to different things in our own families, in outside world. So I would say that's the message, or that's the thing I would like to leave viewers with.
Awesome. So, Arkaya, awesome note. Thank you so much, Maitreyi, for taking the time today. Number இன்னொரு conversation, I'll have you back hopefully very, very soon. Arkaya.net is where we have to go to register, right?
Yes.
All right. I'll be doing that pretty soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Bye. All right, Nergale, that was Maitreyi Yogacharini. This was a brilliant conversation for me, at least. It opened up a lot of, answers, gave a lot of answers to several questions, and there's just so much more. So, arkaya.net poi paranga. I will bring back Yogacharini Maitreyi one more time on the show pretty soon. Till then, till we come back with another episode. Thank you so much for watching. அடுத்த வாரம் இன்னொரு எபிசோடுடன் உங்களுடன் நேர்முக சந்திப்பு with Venki on Southern Spice. Talk to you soon. Bye.